All right, what's up, guys? We're back with another episode of the Black Diamond Podcast. Shout out to everybody who's here right now, who's tuned into the stream, watching this pre recorded. But we have a great episode tonight, and see the topic. So, you know what we're about to get into. But before that, let's discuss where you can find me, right? Check me out on Instagram, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me your thoughts, your opinions, whether you agree, disagree. Also, follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Been posting on there daily, and I'm planning a way to get more content out to you guys. I know I talk about it every episode, but definitely planning a way to get more content out there for you guys so you can enjoy that, right? 1 minute. Right. Sorry about that. Minor inconvenience, but we are back on programming. All right. Yeah. So today, before that, guys, follow me on social media. Trying to run everything up to 10,000 right now. Trying to run all my accounts up to 10,000 right now, guys. So all right. Trying to run all my accounts up to 10,000 right now. So follow me on Instagram, Black Diamond Pod. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter. Post content on there daily. If you want more content, follow me on all those platforms. Stay tuned for more content coming your way. Cool. All right. Yeah. So you see the topic today, and we're talking about 5 things you can do on the first date that show good etiquette, good manners, shows that you're a man who's capable of planning, setting up the date, and also moving forward as a man in a complete package overall, right? And where does this come from? This comes from my experience of dating over the years, tips and tricks I've learned, and just experience of just like what works, what doesn't work, right? So hope you guys enjoy. We're gonna go into that, and hopefully you find some use, you get some value out of this. Because I know I wish I would have had this when I was going on plenty of first dates, right? So hopefully someone watching this gets some value from it, gets a takeaway from it, and is able to use it before they go on their first date. Cool. So let's go into the first topic, right? Point number one. What's that going to be? That is going to be you becoming a gentleman on the first date. Okay? Now, I know this may sound blue pilled or simpish, right? But you have to be a gentleman, guys. Above all, you have to be polite, friendly, and you have to just be an outgoing person overall. And just know as a man, you have certain responsibilities when you're on the first date, right? So being a gentleman. Oh, Yeah, so being a gentleman, just overall doesn't necessarily mean you have to go above and beyond, but you do have to put a little bit more effort than she will up front. Okay. So typically this can mean opening up doors for her, especially the restaurant door. You don't have to necessarily do the car door, but at least open up the restaurant door, let her walk in first, things like that. Okay. Taking her chair out before she sits down, little things like that, making sure that whatever she needs, she doesn't have to get up, right? You handle all those little small acts of service, I like to call them. Okay. Making sure she's comfortable knowing that you have everything under control and just being polite, right? You don't necessarily have to buy flowers the first date. I wouldn't do that. Save that for maybe the second or the third date. But definitely just being a gentleman and just being the best possible, polite and friendly, saying hello to everyone, the waitresses, the waiters, the maitre d', and just a acknowledgement of who they are and just showing that you are a complete man and that you are able to handle yourself in different social situations. Okay. Um, so this does not include over complimenting her, right? Don't confuse being a gentleman with just saying she's beautiful 24/7. It's not how that works. You want to compliment, you want to be very picky with your compliments, I should say, right? You don't want to give your compliments out too frequently, and you want to make sure that they're meaningful, right? If you're the type of person who just gives out compliments whenever, then they don't really mean much. Or if you're the type of person who gives everyone compliments, compliments mean more when they are scarce, really, right? That's how you know they're meaningful and when you actually put thought and attention into them, not just calling someone beautiful over and over again, right? So, yeah, you want to be thoughtful about your compliments. You want to make sure that the compliments also have some meaning attached to what that person or the woman that you're dating was talking about. So, yeah, don't go overboard with compliments, but definitely throw some compliments in there before the date, during the date, after the date, right? Throw them in when they fit, but don't go overboard. Okay. Um, with that, stay away from the physical based or the heavily appearance based compliments, right? Like we said before, try to get a little bit more in depth with your compliments, get a little bit more intellectual with your compliments. Don't just overly compliment someone's physical appearance. Okay. Yeah. So that was step number one. Be a gentleman. Be polite. Be friendly. Know how to handle yourself in social situations. Right. But before that, we're gonna go to step number two. Tip number two is going to be planning the date. Right. This is where you get to show your leadership qualities. Right. This is where you get to show that you are capable enough to pursue and plan a social setting where you guys can get to know each other, right? It shows that you are thinking about getting to know this person more than just on a physical level. It shows that you're willing to get to know this person on an emotional level, mental level. You want to understand how they think a little bit, right? So planning the date is very important, right? The last thing you want to do is ask the woman that who you pursued, right? Last thing you want to do is ask her where she would like to go. This is where the ball's in your court. You get to pick the circumstances of the date. You get to pick where it's going to be, what it's going to be, and what time it's going to be. Okay. And she just has to agree to those choices, right? But the thing you don't want to do, especially on the first date, a lot of dudes make this mistake where they will ask the woman what she wants to do on the date or what she likes to do. And it's not really about that. Okay. This is where you show her what you like to do and that you're capable of planning something that's out of her realm, okay? Or in her realm, depending on what the activity is. You guys may both enjoy the activity, but typically choose something on the first date that is a little bit more open, not so romantic and intimate. It could be a little intimate, but not too intimate, right? Like a candlelit dinner on the first date. Nah, okay. You want to make sure that it's a calm, relaxing environment where you guys can just talk, have open conversations, and just get to know each other really more. Because this first date is really just about getting to know that person, right? I typically go for low investment first dates. I don't really do too much. If you're okay with doing dinner and you want to do dinner, you don't mind taking a loss if it doesn't go the way that you planned, fine, do dinner. But typically, drinks on the first date is pretty cool, or any activity that you like to do that you think she would want to do with you as well. Okay. Um, Movies typically don't really work that well, but any activity where you guys can have the opportunity to talk and get to know each other more. So, like I said, this has to be a relaxed environment. This has to be an environment where you guys are able to have casual conversations, but also ask a little bit more in depth questions, follow up questions. You guys can listen to each other, hear each other, right? It's all about just creating the moment to get to know each other on a deeper, more personal level, right? Like I said, this is your responsibility. This is going to be your burden as a man. If you ask for any help on planning the date, this shows a lack of competency on your part. She's not going to think you're capable of planning a date, which is never a good first impression, right? You want to make sure that you're able to plan a date and that you are just capable. You want to show her that you're capable. You want to show her that you're able to do these things, and you should be able to do these things, right? You should be able to find a spot. You should be able to know your town like the back of your hand, right? And the town that she's in shouldn't be too far. So even if you have to go a little bit further out, you should be able to plan something that's in the middle and that's convenient for you within your budget, of course, and also something that you'll enjoy. Not everybody likes to drink on first dates. Some people like to go out for tacos or go out for a snack or something like that, take a walk in the park. Anything that you want to do that's in your budget on first date where you guys can get to know each other more. Right. Now we're on to step number or tip number 3, Pauls. All right, so we went over being a gentleman and planning the date. Those kind of go hand to hand, right? I would say planning the date is weighed a little bit more heavily than being a gentleman. Sometimes you can get away with not being a gentleman, but definitely planning the date is something you won't be able to get away with. Okay, you have to be able to plan a date that's going to be interactive, and fun for the both of you, open, and also has the opportunity for you to get to know each other on a more personal level. All right, next thing you want to do, right, is have an engaging conversation. That's going to be very important. This step is going to be crucial and it's going to play off the information that you received beforehand, before the date. So hopefully, before the date, you at least texted her, saw her Instagram profile maybe, or what I like to do personally is FaceTime. I like to make sure you're not dealing with any catfishes. You know who this person is, get a glimpse of their face, have that nice face to face interaction, chop it up from maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on how it flows, and just get to know that person a little bit. It's like a pre date before the date, right? So you get to know that person a little bit more so that when you do go on the date, you have things to talk about. That's what texting, FaceTiming, calling is all for. This is also you can have conversations on that first date. And say this is a stranger. Say you never met this person before. You didn't text them, you didn't call them, but you want to take them on a date. All right. This is where it gets a little tricky. Now you have to think of topics that you're interested in and that she might be interested in. And so they're going to have to be very general topics that you can talk about, discuss on, that also may not potentially offend her. Okay. So if you want to go that route, you can. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. Definitely still possible. A little bit more difficult, but you can definitely go that route where you have topics, general topics in your mind that you want to talk about with her, and they're not necessarily based on previous conversations that you had with each other. Things to stay away from: politics. Right? Don't talk politics. Don't don't talk too much about fitness or boast about yourself. Keep it very light, very fun, entertaining, right? Keep the topics very enjoyable, fun, and light, right? Don't get too dark or too deep. Keep it general, right? Another important note is to make eye contact. Eye contact and smile, right? You want to do both of those things because it shows that you are attentive, right? It shows that you're paying attention to what she's saying. Don't go on your phone. Don't even grab your phone, right? Unless it's an emergency. But try to stay away from your phone. Put it on D&D. And yeah, be attentive. Make eye contact. Agree with her. Yeah, make sure that you're there. Make sure that you're showing acknowledgement to what she's saying. Smile. Smiling is always great. Um, if you don't have a good smile, you could do a smirk, mm, something like that. Okay. So eye contact, smiling, important. Making sure that she is acknowledged in her conversations. Listening, put your listening skills to use. Listen to remember so that you can respond in the future. Don't just listen, don't just hear. There's a difference between hearing the person and then listening to the person. A lot of people hear people, but they don't listen. Right? Listen is when you take the extra steps necessary to remember what they said and what's going on so you can respond effectively. A lot of people don't really listen like that. They just hear the information coming in and it goes in one ear and out the other. You want to listen so that you can respond to what that other person was saying. All right. On the topic of topics, don't bombard her with questions. Okay. So you of course you want to ask questions because you want to keep her talking, but you don't want to ask question after question after question after question. Okay. You want to keep it, you want to keep the follow ups nice and sweet, right? Short and sweet, but also, paying that close attention to what she was saying. Next thing is don't boast about your accomplishments. Don't boast about what you have on. Don't boast about what you did. Don't boast about what you're going to do, future plans, or anything like that. Don't boast about who you know. Let those things come into play from just being who you are. Let her see those things. Let her come to those conclusions about who you are based on her just interacting and dealing with you. There's no reason to boast about it through conversation or through topics. Okay. All right. Let's keep moving. Fourth point. Fourth point or tip we want to talk about is paying for the date. Mm. And yes, guys, 50-50. on the first date, 50-50 rule or whatever, it goes out the window. All right. If you don't want to see her again, go 50-50. Okay. But if you do want to see her again, you need to pay for the date. I would even say that, it's kind of yours. Even if the date didn't go as well as planned, you still want to pay for the date. Just have, I don't know, have a little bit sense of respect. Unless she was like really disrespectful, then, fuck that shit. But if she was cool and they was cool, but maybe you guys just are not a good fit, bro, pay for the date. You asked her out on the date, pay for the date, right? None of that 50-50 shit on the first date. And I wouldn't even say at any date, but hey, some guys, if you want to go 50-50, save it for at least the third, third or fourth date, right? First two dates, you should be paying for a minimum, right? If you're asking that person out, be prepared to pay for the date. And if you can't pay for the date and you're going out with no wallet, no money, or you got to call people, card declined, you shouldn't be dating at all then. Brokey, you should be making money. No reason for you to be dating if you don't have the money. You got to have the money to enter this market. All right. Fifth topic, fifth point. So, yeah. So, first 4 points. Let's go over them one more time, right? First one was planning the date. You want to make sure that you plan everything to the T, location, activity, and time. Next was being a gentleman. You want to make sure that you're polite and friendly, not only to her, but to the people in the environment that you're going to be in or during the activity. Third was having engaging conversations. You want to make sure that topics are light, fun, friendly. They also have the opportunity to go a little bit deeper so you can get to know that person on a more personal level. Eye contact, smiling, all that's important, right? Next was paying for the date. We're not doing that 50-50 thing on the first date. Nope. We're not going Dutch. Nope. You're paying for the date. You ask her out on the date, you're going to pay for the first date. It is what it is, guys. Burden of man. Fifth point is going to be don't be overly eager for the second date or affection at the end of the date. Okay? So this is where you want to have a little bit of mystique or mysterious. Yeah, you want to be a little bit mysterious, right? You don't want to come off too strong. You want to make it seem like you have other options out there in case this falls to the wayside. Right? So when the date ends, you want to thank her for coming out, of course. You want to say you had a good time, but you also want to check the body language, right? This is where it's going to be your visual cues and your body language is going to be very important. You want to make sure that she's showing some level of interest or reciprocation back into you, right? So you're going to check for body language. You're going to check for signs that she's interested. Maybe the best sign is that she asks you for a second date. All right. You necessarily don't want to be the person that says, "Hey, do you want to go on a second date with me?" No. Kind of want to scope the scene for a little bit, see if her interest levels are still at the same level from the beginning of the date, and just gauge whether or not she's really interested in going on a second date with you. Right. With that, you don't want to be too pushy for affection. You don't want to be too pushy to go in for a kiss. You don't want to be too pushy going in for a hug. You don't want to be that "where my hug at" type guy, right? You just want things to happen naturally. And trust me, if she's attracted to you and interested in you, it will happen naturally. She'll naturally just want to give you a hug, want to follow up with you, want to make sure that you're getting home safe. All of those things will all come naturally. So don't be too pushy. Don't be too overly eager to get those answers or to just constantly pursue her for some level of affection. You just want to let things ride naturally, right? Let her be herself. Let her feel comfortable around you, and just let things happen naturally. Trust me, it will. All right. So, crazy thing is, I posted this question on my Twitter feed, and I got some pretty good tips on what people thought men need to do on the first date. So, we're gonna share my screen, and we're gonna go over that a little bit. All right. If you guys haven't followed me by now, follow me on Twitter. All right, let's see. Here we go. Yes, follow me on Twitter, guys. I post daily. All right, I cannot find this. Okay, here we go. All right. So, what are some first date etiquette rules men should follow? And I can't see for the life of me. So, I gotta zoom in. All right. So, first comment we got was be on time, open her door, bring flowers, lead and let her follow, cater a date to her actual interest, be honest and genuine, listen when she talks, don't stare at her in a sexualizing way, and smile. Women love that rather than trying to play it cool. Not bad. Definitely not bad tips. I replied with flowers, maybe on the second or third date. And if you're the leader as the man, the first date should cater to shared interests, not just hers. Good points otherwise. And I do believe, yeah, she had definitely has some good points, especially when it says don't stare her, sexualizing her, right? Don't stare her body, right? Don't make comments that are like over hypersexualizing her or something like that, guys. Just, try to stay away from those physical based appearance comments or compliments. And yeah, definitely need to lead. Leading comes with planning the date. So let's read the second one. Heavy on compliments. Listen more than talk. Good point. I replied, would definitely agree on the listening aspect and complimenting when it's meaningful. Right. So this goes back. Compliment when it's meaningful. Don't compliment her on her body. Because from previous posts, we know that they don't want to be looked at as a sex object. Right. So make your compliments meaningful and ask questions that are going to lead to engaging conversations. That's going to allow her to talk a little bit more. And that's your opportunity to just listen so that you can reply meaningfully. And let's read a couple more. Take a shower. Yeah, guys, don't. Okay, take a shower before the date. Don't come to a date smelling bad. Don't go to a date after you hit the gym. Put on deodorant. Use a good smelling soap. Something masculine. I would say nothing fruity or Irish Spring or something like that. Use something that's actually going to last on your body. Cologne. If you guys don't have a cologne collection, start. I could definitely give you some good tips if you want that in another video, but definitely wear cologne on the date. Not too much, 2 to 3 spritz. That's it. And take a shower. Make sure you smell good. That's it. Make sure you smell good. Make sure your fingernails are clean. Make sure, your lips aren't dry. Make sure your hair is on point. Everything. Beard, haircut, everything needs to be clean, guys. All right. Next comment we have is don't throw a barrage of questions. Just be normal and engage in convo. Good point. This goes back to engaging in conversation. Don't just throw out multiple questions out there. Don't just barrage her with a whole bunch of questions. Make sure that the questions are topics of interest that you guys are both interested in. Okay. But Guys, we looks like we have some guests, so we're gonna get into this conversation a little bit more. We're gonna go from there. One thing, let me put my headphones on. All right, ladies, how are you doing?
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hello. Let's do a quick mic check, real quick, just to make sure everything's sounding crystal clear for the audience. Can you guys just go around and say your name real quick?
Hi, I'm Joy.
Okay.
I'm
Hi,
Shannon.
I'm Karishma.
Okay. Sounds like we're all good. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
great. All right. Let's start with introductions. Let's get your name, age, education, what you do for work, and your relationship status. We can start with Joy since she was first.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Joy. I am 33 years old. Education level is some college, a handful of certificates, and I work in tech as a web developer, front end, back end, full stack developer. Um, but I'm actually currently considering doing a little pivot in my career, so TBD. But for now, that's what I do.
Okay. Relationship status.
Oh, I'm single, single and
Okay.
dating.
Single and dating. All right. Cool. Who's next?
I guess I'll go. My
Okay.
name is Shania. I am 32. I have a
Okay.
bachelor's degree in biology, but I currently build brands by way of photo and video, and I am currently in a relationship.
Okay. So, what was that job description one more time?
I help people build brands, so I'm a creative director for brands.
Creative director. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And you said you are in a relationship.
Hmm.
So you're married?
No, no.
Okay. No, it's single until you're married over here. But how long have you been in a
That's my
relationship?
philosophy.
About 2 years now.
2 years now. Okay. Real quick, when do you think you would get married?
Um,
You give us a
uh,
nice range. You don't know? You don't care?
I don't know. Maybe next 1 to 3 years. Yeah, not in a rush
One
right
to
now.
you would wait 3 more years?
Yeah, I've been married before, so I've divorced. What year is it? About 20 or about 4 years ago. So not in a huge rush to get married again.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you've been through the trials and tribulations already, so you're not
Hmm.
in a rush.
Hmm.
Cool. All right, last but not least.
Hi, I'm Karishma.
Okay.
I am 38 years old, turning 39 in about a month actually, and I have done masters in hospitality, but now I am in a different career. I help women with raising self-esteem, self-confidence. I am a self-love coach now, and I am single and dating.
Okay, you're a self-love coach. You're single. Okay, cool. All right. So you guys the topic for tonight is first date etiquette. So I was going over 5 tips I gave to men about first date etiquette tips that they can do right. But I want to hear your thoughts. What are some things you think men do right, and then we'll talk about what are some things they do wrong.
Okay, and we're only talking about the men today, not just the women. Their first
Oh,
day etiquette.
yeah, we're only talking about the men. So what are some things men do right on the first date, and then we'll talk about some things that they get wrong on the first date.
Okay.
So
Okay, I
we
guess I'll
know this person.
start.
Yeah.
Okay, as someone who does a lot of dating, I have my opinions on this. Um,
Okay.
I feel like first and foremost, above all else, he should be planning the date. Like, not just like what you doing or like I'm trying to see you or let's get up on Friday. Like, no, let's have a real deal plan. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like dinner or something, but like an actual tangible plan. It's like dinner at 7 o'clock at XYZ restaurant or axe throwing at 6:30 at XYZ place or even a stroll in the park. Meet me at this location at this time. I feel like that's like number one.
Number one.
um,
Okay.
I could keep going, but I don't want to like
Yeah. Let's
monopolize
go.
the
Let's go
conversation
around.
here.
Let's go around. Karishma, what do you think?
I would agree with her, like taking the lead, planning the date, which is something men do, right? And yeah, definitely
What is
not
something different?
not getting into sexual conversations, chatting in the from
Oh,
the
that's a
first
good one.
date, not getting into sexual conversation, and making sure the woman is safe with them instead of making her uncomfortable. It's
I
something that they
agree.
do right, and which most likely leads to a second date if they do that.
Good point. Good point. All right. Shania, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah, Shania.
Shania.
I have to agree with, I didn't catch her name, but the first lady who spoke, for sure,
Joy.
definitely in the date. I think that men do a great job of that. And I'm going to say something as simple as, just opening the car door, right?
And
When
being a
you're stepping
gentleman.
in the car. Yeah, being a gentleman.
Being a gentleman. Okay.
Yeah, I think all of the chivalry rules apply, especially on the first date. Personally, I want that to be perpetuated throughout my relationship, but especially on the first date, chivalry. So opening the doors, paying the tab, obviously. Um, you know, what else is chivalrous? But yeah, just
So
walking on the outside of the street if you all are walking from one place to the next, things like that.
all
Yeah,
right. The five tips I gave. The first one was plan the date. You know,
boom.
that's your way as a man to show that you're a capable leader, right? So that's
Hmm.
important. Don't ask her what she wants to do. Don't get any input from her. Make sure that you're capable enough to plan the date. Second,
I feel like you can give input though. Like if
uh,
if he were to be like, say if he were to be like, I want to take you to dinner. Is there anything you don't like? I don't want him to be like, what restaurants do you want to go to? But I want him to be like, do you like sushi or Indian or Mexican? Like, or are you allergic to anything? Like something, but not necessarily being like, what restaurant do you want to go to? Like, no, that's whack. But
so me personally, I don't believe in dinner on the first date.
you know what? That's my rule too, actually, at this point. No dinner date, first dates. I want an activity. But,
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I would tell guys recommend an activity, something that you enjoy doing. Drinks are
Hmm.
always good. Something that's light and open, not too committed or romantic. Just it's an opportunity to get to know each other, right?
Hmm.
It's not really a date, I would say, where you can like where you want to go all out. But of course, if you want to do dinner and you don't mind it not going anywhere after the dinner, sure, do that. But
Hmm.
just understand that low investment is probably the best way to go for the first date, and but still showing that you're capable of planning something, which is why her input isn't that necessary on the first date because you're just getting to know each other. And then the second date is like, okay, well, maybe we'll do dinner. What do you like to do? And then we'll go from there.
Okay, that's a good point. I agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And yeah, if first date doesn't turn out the best, then yeah, it's if it is just a coffee date or a drink date, then it is easier to finish faster if it is not going out well than doing a dinner date, which is likely to last longer,
Yeah.
and you are wondering why am I sitting in front of this person who I
So,
don't like.
good point. How many of you ladies would actually be okay with a coffee date as a first date?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Those are so boring. Those are the most boring dates I've ever been on. Like drinks are one thing you can get a little, but coffee, get out of here. No, no, thank you. Mm-mm.
I
I
wouldn't mind a coffee date.
a coffee date.
Shania, you would go on a coffee date?
Yeah, but I don't drink coffee. But I mean, if I can get something, like a tea or something, I would. But yeah, I would do that.
So, Joy, why are you so against coffee dates?
Because I feel like they're just boring. They're the most boring dates I've ever been on have been coffee dates. Like I'm not like off of like principle against them, but I'm like, it also just kind of shows me like your personality. Like, why you want to do a coffee date for? I just feel like somebody who wants to do a coffee date on the first date is just not my kind of person. Like, if I am like personally, if I'm gonna take the time out of my day, of my schedule to schedule some time away from you, I don't want to do coffee. Like, let's do something fun. I don't want to sit around across from you sober with a coffee. And unless we're doing breakfast at 8 a.m., I'm not trying to drink coffee at 3 p.m. either or 5 p.m. Take me axe throwing, take me bowling. Even a walk in the park with an ice cream cone is better than a coffee date. But that's just me.
Okay.
It's just boring.
So for you, it's more about I guess the aspect of just sitting down for the appearance of it is just boring.
Yeah, not the appearance, the
Okay.
actual
The
activity.
actual I've been on some very successful coffee dates where, but that's just me personally. I can make anything fun if I want it to be. So
I mean, don't get
it
me
all comes down to the
wrong.
person.
Don't get me wrong. Nobody's ever gonna walk away from a coffee date from me being like that was the worst. But me, I'm just like I'm a good conversationalist, and I feel like no matter where I'm at, we can have like a good time. But I'm not. It's not gonna make a good impression on me. Like unless you're just like a stand-up comedian or something, that's gonna really make it fun. But I'm probably gonna be carrying the conversation, and or maybe even not. I don't know. I just don't like. I just don't have good experience with coffee dates. I'm anti-coffee.
All right. So next tip I gave was being a gentleman, right? So this includes opening up the doors, pulling out her chair, maybe depending on what you're
Mhm.
comfortable with. Um, you need to do as a man, just perform small acts of service for her. I wouldn't recommend flowers on the first date. How do you guys feel about that?
I can go without flowers on the first date.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't prefer flowers on the first date. Yeah.
Yeah, flowers on the first date, a little bit too romantic. And honestly, she didn't really do anything to deserve the flowers. So you kind of want to wait until you get to that second or third date where you get a little bit more investment and just maybe pull out the flowers later on. But being a gentleman, right? Opening up car doors, the sidewalk thing, like you mentioned before. Would you guys be okay with a guy not being a gentleman on the first date?
What does that
Definitely.
mean exactly?
Yeah,
First of all,
so
who would be
say he
okay with that? First of
say he
all, who
did
would be okay with that? But what do
or
you mean by that?
say he did everything else. Say he did everything else, but he just wasn't a gentleman. He didn't open up the door for you. He didn't really compliment you, but everything else was a good date.
Nah.
I wouldn't be
No, I
okay with
don't.
him being a gentleman on any date at all, regardless of first date.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, no. I don't even
Yeah,
know
so
if I could consider it a good date, a quote unquote good date, if I don't feel like I'm being treated like a lady and he's not being a gentleman. Because for me, what qualifies as a good date is me being like, I had a good time and I want to see this person again. And if I feel like he's not a gentleman and he's not chivalrous, I'm not trying to see you again. So for me, it's not a good date.
Agreed.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So what are some chivalrous things Well, better question is, do you think guys in today's dating age or dating era are less chivalrous?
I mean, I don't really have anything to compare it to, but when I talk to my grandparents and my parents and stuff like that, I mean, I don't know because I feel like I do a certain amount of vetting before I even go on a first date. And so I feel like the kind of men that I choose, that I date, are gentlemen, like by nature. So I don't know. And I haven't really had a difficult time finding these kind of men. So I wouldn't say so, but that's just my personal experience. So I don't know.
So you always found chivalrous gentlemen
I mean, I'm not going to say like always, not 100% of the time, but the vast majority of the time, yeah.
for the vast majority? Okay. So you wouldn't say
Hmm.
chivalry is dead?
No, no, not at all.
No?
Not at all.
Okay. All
Uh-uh.
right, cool. All right. Third tip I gave that guys need to do on the first date was have an engaging conversation,
Oh,
right?
please.
So there has to be a little prep to this aspect, unfortunately, for guys, but you have to be able to think on your feet a little bit and also incorporate some elements of the person that you met, whether it was online and you checked out their Instagram profile or just through texting and FaceTiming, possibly before the date. You want to make sure that you have topics and conversations before you actually go on that first date. Have you ladies ever encountered a situation where maybe there was like that weird awkward moment of silence on the first date,
Yes.
and was that an immediate
Yes.
turn off? And no.
That to me like defines like a boring anything. It don't have to be a date. A conversation with anyone. If it's kind of like it feels like an interview and it's kind of just like you're just going through motion with questions, or there's no questions at all, it's like, all right, hard pass for me.
Um, it's hard to say because I feel like I go on so many dates that I'm prepared. Like I literally have a list, like I have a note on my phone with like probably like 80 questions of like first date questions. And so I feel like
You have
depending, like I
a
do, I do
list on
my
your
prep
phone with
work.
80 questions?
Yeah,
That's a lot.
listen, I do. I know.
Wait, wait,
I'm not
wait, wait, wait,
asking them
wait, wait,
all.
wait,
I'm not asking them all.
wait,
I'm
wait,
just
wait.
saying I have a catalog to go through. So me, for my preparation for a first date, from what I know about him, I'll choose like maybe like five, six, seven of those questions that I can like pepper in that are interesting and engaging if the conversation takes like a lull. So
Can
that's
you read us some of those questions?
um okay, sure. Hold on.
So these aren't things you remembered. So you just have a list of questions and you kind of choose them based on the type
Yes,
of
so
men
I
that you're
have a list of
dating.
questions, right? And then before my first date, I'll like check a couple. And if you check them, it goes to the bottom. So then I'll have some checked so that in my mind, that, like I said, if it's a lull, then I can kind of like do a quick little like glance or I'll have a couple at the top of my head just to keep conversation going if it becomes like, a lull. So it's like,
So yeah, let's hear some.
so okay, let me choose a few one. Okay.
What would you
So
all right, say you're on a date with me, hypothetical. Let's go into a dream world. Me
okay.
and you.
Okay.
What would be some of the questions you would ask me to kill the awkward silence?
Okay, well, I like to prepare for stuff. So I don't know that much about you. So I would tailor the questions that I had on standby to you. But like the ones that I have here, like um let me see, what's a good one? When's the last time you stole something? That's a good one to get like conversation going. And then um would you rather be the worst player on the best team or the best player on an okay team? Or like what is your biggest fear about the future? What in life do you feel most grateful for? Why do you like me?
These are really
Let me
in-depth
see.
questions.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you move? Would you rather be bored or stressed? So, like, depending on what I know about the person, I would choose from, like, some of them are serious, some of them are lighthearted, some of them are silly, some of them are like kind of personal. It just depends on like the dynamic that we've already established before our first date. So that is how I avoid conversation. But it's like, what do you feel about marriage? Tell me about a time you almost died. Um, you know, what's the weirdest habit that you have? Like I have, it's a lot of questions. So like I said, I'll
How
choose
do
a
the guys
couple.
typically respond to those questions?
I
They
mean,
just
it
rattle them
they
off.
no. I'm not. Let me. I'm good. I'm good at this. I'm good at this thing called dating here. So I'm not like. It's not like an interview, but I'll have the questions top of mind. So I feel like if there's a good segue, I'll like pepper it in, or like it's
Mm,
not like I'm not gonna sit here and read them like I just read to you all.
yeah.
But I might be like, you know what, I just thought of. Let me ask you this or something like that. Um, but because I've already like predetermined some questions that I want to ask, depending on who they are, they've already, always been received well, and it always like opens up the conversation to. It's never like yes or no questions. It's always like an
An
answer,
open
and then
ended.
you elaborate, and then it gets the train rolling again. If so,
Do you do you ever feel like it's a burden when you have to do that? Like you want the man to kind of be able to carry the conversation or be able to ask those open ended, engaging questions rather than you have to do it?
not necessarily because regardless, it leads to good conversation. So it's not like a one sided thing. And like I said, I'm going to prepare regardless because I feel like this is just in life. I feel like when you show up to anything more prepared, then you're more confident, then you can be a little more relaxed. Like, people get like stressed and anxious on the first date. Like, I'm not that kind of person because I feel like, I got my own money to pay just in case he don't want to pay. I got questions just in case there's a lull. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always prepared with whatever I do so that I can just relax and enjoy it. So it's not a burden. It's makes me less anxious.
So if he's not really carrying the conversation or that interesting enough to be engaging in the conversation, that's not a deal breaker for you, basically.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Hmm.
What What
I
about you,
feel like
Kim?
as
Is
long
that a
as
deal
the
breaker for you?
That's I wouldn't say it's like a deal breaker, but it's definitely gonna make me hesitant for like to hang out again for sure.
Mm,
Cause I don't know, again, like that's just one of my pet peeves in general. Like I hate making small talk. So if we can't really have like an engaging conversation past like the initial required small talk, then for me it's kind of just like, okay, you're gonna bore me to death. So
what questions did you ask your man on the first date?
I don't know that we really asking each other any questions really. It kind of just was a natural conversation that flowed. We kind of talked about what each other does, like how we grew up, the things we like to do now. So there weren't really any questions involved. It's kind of just like a conversation that snowballed.
Okay. What about you, Karishma? Is that a deal breaker for you if the guy can't carry a
Uh,
conversation?
it will be definitely a deal breaker for me if we can't have an engaging conversation.
What do you do when there's a moment of awkward silence?
um, I will try to ask a question or two to see if I can keep the conversation going. And
What
if
kind of
it is
questions would
not
you ask?
working out, if it is not working out, I will probably say that like, since if it is a first date and if we have only gone for drinks or coffee or something like that, chances are it will end in half an hour or maximum 45 minutes at the most. So by the time the date is over, I will probably say I don't think we are a match, so good luck to you.
Okay. Playing no games out here. All right.
Right.
Well, what questions would you ask him if there was a moment of awkward silence?
I will be interested in getting to know about his childhood, his relationship with his parents, and mainly how he treated his mother, because I understand how he treated his mother is like it will describe how he will treat other women. How was his relationship with his mother, which will depict how he is likely to treat me.
I
So
like
that
that.
will say a lot about his relationship with other women as well. So if
What do
he
you got? What the other ladies think about that? A guy who has a good relationship with his mom.
I mean, I get that it's something that occurs more often than not, but as long as he can still kind of have like some respect for his mom, then I can believe that he'll obviously respect me. But I do get strained relationships with moms for sure, so I wouldn't completely write it off. But again, like if I'm like hearing him cursing his mama out, I'm like, oh, okay, whoa, I don't know what she got going on. But that would be a deal breaker for me if he can't respect his mom and at least respect her for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it's for me it's something that's just like noted, but it doesn't really factor in too much about how like how I judge him, because family dynamics are difficult and complicated. And so I think it just depends on the specific scenario. So I don't know, that's kind of like on a case by case basis, but I don't even use that as like a barometer. Like, I feel like there are other things that you can, I mean, obviously it's something that you, like I said, consider, but it's not like, if I were to make a list of things that I'm like, this is what determines whether a guy is good or bad, or this is how I predict whether he'll treat me in the future, that's not one of the things that I use.
Wow, that's crazy. Um, I think it's very important for the man that you're dating to have a good relationship with his mom because, like Christian said, it does show how he views women and his ability to, just build a healthy, long lasting relationship with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip end of that, if we reverse it, I think it's even more important when a woman has a good relationship with her father, right? So typically, if you meet a woman who doesn't have a good relationship with her father or doesn't even know her father, then you're going to see some red flags pop up, most likely. So those are definitely key things you got to look out for. You guys
I
agree?
mean,
Disagree?
because, I mean, as a woman with a relationship with her father, like I don't know, and I only date men, so I wouldn't know what red flags will pop up dating a woman without, a good relationship with her father. So I don't really
But
have a perspective on that.
you have friends who don't know their father, or don't have a good relationship with their father, and
I
you know
only
how
have,
they act. What would be
but
the
if I think
difference?
about, if I'm honest, if I think about like my close friends that we really have like a personal relationship, they
Mhm.
all have relationships with their fathers, all except for one whose father was killed before she was born. Um, but she got a whole bunch of other issues besides that.
Right.
So it's like, I can't say that her father not being there is one of them. But like I said, for the women, and this is just coincidental, right? It's just coincidental. The close people in my life, they have relationships with, so I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that because I don't really have firsthand experience, close hand experience like that. Like, you have associates and stuff, but I don't know them like that. So I don't know.
What about you, Shana?
I think I'm gonna have to agree. Like I have a great relationship with my stepfather, who's the guy who raised me. So I don't think I really ever had encountered a friend who didn't have a good relationship with their dad.
So both of you have
But
no experiences with a woman who does not have a good relationship with her
I'm
father,
not
doesn't know her father.
saying I'm not saying no experiences with a woman without a father, but I'm saying for people that I really know closely and personally to be able to make an assessment on their character, and like, when you know people close, you kind of start to psychoanalyze them. You be like, you this way because of this, because of that, and the third. But like for, maybe the 5, 6, 7 like close girlfriends that I have, like I said, all of those except for one have relationships with their fathers. But like I said, I'm sure there are plenty of people out here, without fathers, and they, everybody got their own set of issues. So I can't sit up there and say you act like this because you don't have a father, because I don't know you well enough to know all of the other, you know, contributing factors as to why you are the way that you are. All I know is you don't have a father. And sometimes it might be other stuff, like, so I don't know. I can't say. But on that note, I will say, for me, when it comes to a man, what's most important more than his relationship with his mother is his relationship with his father. I feel like, because your father is the one that teaches you how to be a man, and I have dated men without fathers or that raised by mothers, and single mothers, they do the best that they can, but it's no replacement for having a father. And I feel like the men that I date with no fathers, those tend to be those sorry, those tend to be more problematic than the ones without relationships with their mothers. So that's where I stand on that.
That's a good point as well. Fathers are definitely necessary in the household,
Mm-hmm.
and there is going to be a major difference. There's actually a statistic that says most of the males in prison actually come from single mother households.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there there are consequences for not having a man in the house, and for
Mm-hmm.
other men, other young boys not being raised by men.
Yeah.
But uh, fourth point, fourth tip that I have for men out there going on first dates is that, and you ladies mentioned this before, that you need to pay for the date. All right?
Absolutely.
None of that
Yes.
going Dutch or 50-50 bullshit. If you ask her out on the date, you have to pay for the date. It's your responsibility. Unfortunately, it's the burden of man. But if you want to see her again, you need to be able to afford and pay for the date. If you don't have the money to pay for the date, then you shouldn't be dating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you
I
ever
wouldn't
been
say you
kept?
shouldn't be dating, because I feel like everybody needs love no matter which tax bracket you're in. But I do feel like the burden is on the man to pay. So, like, if you
Okay.
can't afford it, you still need to plan a date. And if you can only afford coffee and ice cream, then that's what you pay for. You don't need to go on some elaborate first date, but you still need to pay. But if you broke, you can still date. Like, I don't agree. That's a common
So
sentiment.
how many broke guys have you dated?
As a fully formed adult, zero, because I don't have time for that.
So then how?
Actually, even when I was younger, I don't know.
Okay, so you dated zero broke men as a fully formed adult,
Yes.
but yet you're telling men that they can date while they're broke.
Yes, you just can't date me. Well, how? Why am I gonna say you can't date? You still deserve love. If you make $30,000 a year, you still. I feel like love is still something that you can have and you can pursue. You just can't pursue me, but live your life.
Who's he gonna pursue?
Women who are okay with
Who
dating
is
those kind of men. I'm just saying it's not me, but I'm not one to be like, you shouldn't be dating. Like, do what you do.
most women? Most women are not okay dating that type of man. And if you're a guy
So
who's
they
making 30,
say. But then you hear about women letting these broke dudes live in their house, drive their car, give them their taxes. Like, broke men be out here dating. So I
well,
feel like there is
they're
somebody
providing
for
something
everybody.
else. They're providing
But
something else.
regardless, exactly, they're
So
providing something else.
they're
But
adding
I feel like
value
there's
outside of money.
that's what I'm saying. So there's somebody for everybody, just not for me.
And
But
we're talking about intentional dating. We're talking about like people who want to get married and just dating with a purpose, and they're not looking just at the physical aspect of things.
well, yeah, that's
So
different.
so if you're dating with intention, and as a man, you can't you can't say you can date while you're broke. You can't tell men that, because there's men out here who
Yeah.
are really trying to do that, and they're not getting anywhere. You're just gonna be on this endless cycle of first dates because you're never going to have enough to continue the relationship and go further with it, because the relationship will only get more expensive as it goes along. That's the truth of it. Next, after the dates comes the trips. Right? After the trips comes anniversaries, right? So then
Hmm.
comes Christmas. It's only going to get more expensive. So I mean, if you're broke, don't date. Get your money up. Do what you got to do. Get that
I mean,
down
I feel
payment.
like that's sound advice. I do feel like that's sound advice, but I'm just not here to tell nobody don't look for love, because maybe if you're a broke guy,
If
maybe
you're a
love is the
woman,
thing that you need to
if you're a
to
woman, you can
motivate
definitely
you.
be broke and date. Women can definitely don't even carry a wallet to the date and be good. So
Yeah,
if it's totally different. Men and women, the way we date is totally different.
yeah,
The way we
I
have
would
to
agree.
pursue each other is going to be different. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, I would agree.
how many of you ladies are okay with going 50-50 on the first date?
No, absolutely not.
No.
No.
I mean, if I'm on a first date and he says we have to go 50-50, I'm not gonna kick up a fit about it. But I kind of agree with you. I think whoever kind of initiates the date should be prepared to plan and hopefully at least pay for the date. So
But
I,
ladies,
like
aren't we
I said, I
equal?
ain't gonna pick up a fuss,
Aren't
but
men and women equal?
uh,
Yes.
in what regard? It depends.
I'm just joking. Men and women are not
Yeah.
equal.
Yeah, no, yeah,
I
no.
mean, I feel like men
How
and women are equal in like, their in their personhood, but I do feel like men and women have different roles. And so like, you
their
know,
personhood? What do you mean by that?
I wouldn't say that like, how people be like, oh, men are the prize, women are the prize. I feel like those kind of conversations, like everyone's equal. Like if you're a woman, a man is a prize. If you're a man, a woman is a prize because you need the other person to form a relationship. So I feel like in order for it to be an equitable relationship, I feel like our relationships are 50-50 in some capacity, just not necessarily financially. Like, what it balances out their contributions to the relationship, at least it should, in order for like resentment and things not to build. But people have different roles, right? He takes out the trash and she washes the dishes. Like they're not the same, but they're both as valuable, they're both equal, but they're not the same. If I'm being articulate.
Let's can we build your dream man? I really want to do that with you.
Sure.
Joy. Can we do that?
Sure.
I want to play a game. I want to play a game real quick.
Okay. We can play a game. Um,
Can you guys see that?
hmm
Okay.
It's so funny because I feel like I know what you're about to do, but the thing is, like I'll like
Well,
see on social media people being like, "This is XYZ what I want," and then it'll be like, "Your dream man is 0.07% of the population," and I'm like, you know what? I really, honestly, I don't feel like that is. I
you don't
feel
feel like it's
like I don't be
accurate?
feeling like those things are statistically accurate because I have like a minimum, like you know, a minimum like superficial standard of what I want in a man, and before we can even get to a first date, he has to meet these standards, and if he doesn't, then I'm not going on a date with him. But it's the intangibles that make dating a little more elusive. Like finding a partner is a little more elusive. It's the intangibles. It's not the tangibles because all I date are men that are 5'11" and taller and six figures and all and dress well and drive and all the things that we want superficially. I find these kind of men all the
No, no,
time.
nobody, nobody's saying that you can't find these men, right? We're just giving you a breakdown of how rare that man is right now. That's all we're doing.
And I know
Let
that's what you're
so let
doing. But like
let
I
let
said, people try to make that like as a statistic, being like, this is what I want. Oh, there's only 0.07% of the like, and so what I gotta do? That is irrelevant
what is that?
because
It is
because
no, it's very relevant because you're not going to have those same options forever. That's why
I
it's
mean, but I
relevant.
have them for
We we
now,
just
and
we just
so
we just saw Ebony K the other day. Today
who is Ebony
actually,
K?
Ebony K Williams, she had this whole point of her not dating a bus driver, right? And setting such high standards and expectations for the men that she was dating. And now she reached a point in her life where she's 40 and had to go to a sperm bank to start a family. So 100% these statistics and numbers do matter because you will not have these options forever. You'll have these options when you're young and beautiful, but when you hit a certain point in your life, you're not going to have all these options. You're not going to have these same caliber of men still approaching you because you're just not this. You just don't have the same value as you did when you were younger.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but
So wait, before we do that, before we continue, let's break down your dream
okay.
man.
Okay. Ginger is the man, wants kids. Either. Doesn't matter.
You'll
Either.
be okay with no kids?
Yeah.
You
I'm
never
I'm
want
I'm I'm
kids.
I'm not saying I'm never. I'm kind of indifferent. My desire for kids is completely dependent upon the partner that I find. Like,
But would you want
um,
kids if he was the perfect partner?
if he was the perfect partner and he wanted kids, then I would want kids. If he was the perfect
Okay,
partner
then we're
and
gonna
he
leave
didn't
it.
want
Then we're gonna
kids,
leave it like
then
that.
no, I want it to be either because it doesn't matter. It's either he can either
No,
want kids
because
or not want kids.
if you want kids with the perfect man, that's all that matters. It's about what
No,
you
no, no,
want
no,
at
no,
the
no,
end.
no. No, what I'm saying is if the perfect man came along, I would want kids if he wanted kids. If he didn't want kids, then I wouldn't want kids. Like I'm not like kids is not having kids is not something that is necessarily a dream of mine. I'm open to it, but I'm also open to not having kids too. So either is the
But
answer
we're
that I
talking
want to
about
give.
most. All right.
We're not. I know
We're
we're talking
we'll
about
put
me,
you there.
not
We'll put
most
you there.
women. We're talking about me.
I was gonna say most men, but okay. What age range would you like me to be?
I will go like 27 to
You'll
probably
date
like,
younger than you?
yeah, I'll
Really?
go 27 to like probably like 47. Yeah.
You'll date a guy younger than you?
Yeah. Why not?
Seriously, like you'll get married to a guy who's 27?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. His height? Said minimum
I want him
5'11",
to
right?
be, I want him to be 5'10 to 6'3.
5'10" to 6'3".
Yeah. Anything over 6'3 is too tall for me.
All right, minimum income. Income. How much does he have to make?
Um, I would probably say like 120. Yeah.
120. Okay. Does he have to be a certain race?
No, any
He
race.
does. Are you dating Muhammad?
Yes.
Chen?
Absolutely.
You're
But
dating Mr. Chin?
actually, my favorite is going to be a Muhammad if I'm being real. Okay.
So you're
Um,
dating Mr. Chin as well.
yes, I'm dating everyone. Yes, I
Short
have my
hair?
preferences, but I'm open to everyone as long as he's handsome and makes money and within my house a height range.
So you're not sticking
Uh,
loyal to the people? To your brothers?
Listen, I love my black men, and out of all
I'm
the men
joking.
that I date, probably 50% of them are black, and the other 50% is a mix of other races.
But would you have a preference for race that you go
Not
after more?
necessarily. No.
No?
Well, if I were to
Okay.
make a preference, it would probably be Middle Eastern because, those who I end up dating the most, just because of the field that I'm in. A lot of times the people that you date are the people that you are exposed to. I work in
Yeah,
tech.
you're
I'm
in tech.
exposed to a
Yeah.
lot of
You're a
Middle
developer.
Eastern men. Those are the kind of men that I end up dating a lot. But I
But they're
mean,
pretty
my
short,
preferences,
aren't they?
not necessarily. I mean, they're all ranges. They're all ranges. But I'm only dating them if they're 5'10".
All right. Hair color, I
So,
guess. Hair color doesn't matter, I guess, right?
hair color, it doesn't matter.
Would you do
Any,
red?
yeah, why not?
Right. You like
Eye
ginger.
color, any, education,
Education.
any, religion, any,
Okay.
um,
Any religion?
smokes.
You guys don't have to have the same religious beliefs.
No, religion has, from my experience, been more of an issue for him because, you know,
Okay.
but no, I don't care.
Smoke cigarettes?
No, I don't really want to smoke or
Drinks?
drinks either yes or no. I've dated sober men and
Would you
um
date him if he was married?
no, absolutely not.
Or would you date him if he was obese?
Absolutely not.
All right, let's find out. 4.4% of all men in the United States meet your standards. That's actually not too
And so I
bad.
said I've never ever had a problem finding men that
But
meet my
that's still
superficial
rare.
criteria. But what
That's
I'm saying from
still
my
very rare.
experience, I mean anything is rare. Anything is rare. 4.4%. Just 4 out of every 100 men. Um, I don't think that's that rare. 4 out of every
That
100
that's
men.
still pretty rare.
What do you want it to be? 75% of the population? No, that's ridiculous. What's the acceptance rate
4%?
for Harvard? What's the
imagine if
acceptance rate for Harvard? 4%.
imagine
Like,
imagine if
and lots
imagine
of
if a
people go
man's
there.
standards imagine if a man's standards was four
Let's do
out of
it for
every
you.
100
Let's do it for
women.
you. Let's play that game for you. Let's
That
pull it
would
back up.
be
Pull it
crazy.
back up and do it for you. Let's see.
I I love all women, so
Pull it back up
100%
and
for
do it for
me.
you. Pull
I
it
love
back
all
up and do it
women,
for you.
100% for me. So we don't even
No, pull
have
it
to go
back
through
up
me.
and let's do it for you.
No, no, no.
Why you don't want to do it? Pull it up.
I love all women. That's why it doesn't matter.
No, you don't. Would you date a woman that's married?
Sure, it's not gonna stop
Would
me.
you date a woman who's obese?
Sure, it's not gonna stop
All
me.
right.
I told you I love all women, but
Okay, but let's pull it up and do it for you though. I want to see how big of a difference it
hey, listen, it's not gonna be no 4%. That's all I know.
is.
It's
But
not
that's
gonna be
why I
no
was
four
saying
percent.
whatever the statistic comes back is pretty irrelevant because it's not like I'm not out here claiming that the kind of men that I want are hard to
I
find.
just told you why it was
The
relevant.
it's not, but we're talking about me right now, dating right now, not me dating in
Yeah, but if
10 years.
if you don't, well, what do you think is gonna happen if you don't like solidify on something pretty soon?
Okay, here's my plan. Right now, I have zero problems finding a man who meets my criteria. Right. If at some point it gets more difficult, once I start to see that, oh, men aren't approaching me, men aren't hitting on me, men aren't treating me the way I used to be treated, then I'll relax on my standards because then it'll be necessary. But until it becomes necessary, why would I do that? Because I'm not having a problem at this point
By
finding
then it'll be
somebody
too
who
late.
meets. No, it won't be too late.
When
It's
okay,
not
you're
like
33.
yes.
When is geriatric pregnancy?
35.
35. You have
Mm-hmm.
2 years.
2 years to what? People have children up until their 40s. I have a friend who just had a baby at 39. I have friends that have
Right, but
babies at 40s.
it's very high risk though. It's not something that you want to make a practice out of.
I mean, if I don't have kids, also, the thing is, to your point, if kids was very, very important to me, then I would have approached dating very differently. Like,
But
I have
that's the
been,
thing you're not understanding. Kids are very important to men. That's one of the main reasons men get married is for to start a family. And why
I'll
would you
take my
say
chances.
why would you want to this is what I'm saying though, but if you this is why the whole probability and the statistics matter is because men are typically only interested in marriage, which I'm guessing is something that you want, because they want to start a family. So why would they choose someone who's in their later years of their life when they're a successful man who's 6 foot making $120,000 per year when they can go get the 25-year-old
You
who
know
can have a
why?
bunch of kids?
You know why? As like I said, as I've already answered this question, as I age, as my options change, I will change my standards. Like right now, I don't date men with kids, and I don't date. Obviously, I don't date married men, but I don't date men with kids. But if I reach an age where I'm still single and I'm 40, maybe I'll start dating men with kids. Maybe if I realize if I get to a point where I can't have children, then I'm not going to date men with no children. I'm going to start to date men with children because then they won't expect that out of me. What I'm
But would you
saying
be
is,
okay with not getting married?
that's not what I want. No,
You don't want marriage?
no,
You're
I want marriage. No, I want marriage.
right, but if you keep holding this off, right? Think about it. If you keep holding this off, and we know that the main reason men get married is to start a family, and you reach your 40s, same thing that happened to Ebony K. Williams. Her standards were so high, and she reached her 40s that she had to go to a sperm bank because she was literally in the last years where she could have a healthy pregnancy. Why do you think men would want to commit to you for marriage? They're just going to use you for a long-term girlfriend.
I just
They're
told
never going
you.
to get
I
married
will.
to you though.
Well, how do you know? How do you know? I know plenty of
Chances
people.
chances are chances are they won't get married to you
Is it a four
because
percent
you're
chance? Because right now, 4% chance is looking good in my favor. What I'm saying is, as I age and my options change, so will my behaviors. It's very simple. Right now, I have my standards because those have been working for me. I haven't had an issue finding men that meet those. If I'm 38 and suddenly I decide that I want to get married and I want to have children immediately, then I'm going to approach dating differently. And if I'm 45 and never married and no kids, I'm going to approach dating differently. And I might decide that I don't want to get married. I might change things. So that's what life is about. It's life is dynamic. It's about being adaptable. So what I'm saying is I'm a very like realistic person, and realistically at this point in time, what I want from somebody I've been able to get. The only thing that has been elusive has been the interpersonal connection that I feel. Right, the superficial standards have not been hard to find at all. The moment
All
that
right.
they do, then I'll change my standards.
All right. Let's see how realistic everyone on this panel is. And we'll start with you, Shania. Can you rate yourself out of 10 based on your looks without using the number seven? Where would you rank yourself?
Um, I don't know. I can't do 7. I would do 8, I guess.
Give yourself an 8.
Yeah.
Okay. Joy, what about you?
I think that it depends on where I'm at. In Atlanta, I'm like in Atlanta, 8,
Overall,
8.5.
in the United States, overall, where would you
That's
rank
no,
yourself?
that's no, that's not accurate because the reason that I choose to live where I live is literally because I know where I have market value. I would never move to Miami because I'm like a Miami 5. I would never move to LA. I'm like an LA 6, but I'm gonna be in Atlanta 8.5. I'm in Italy 7. I am in Nigeria 9. I am a London 9.5. It depends. It depends on where you are. That depends. Just like when you go to New York and Oreos are $8 a pack, but when you go to Ohio, they're $3 a pack. Your market value changes. So that's my answer.
Um, Joy, where do you rank yourself in this current state that you're in?
Well, since I live in Atlanta, I would say I'm in Atlanta 8.5.
You're at 8.5. All right.
Yeah.
Karishma, last but not
I
least.
think I would say 8.5.
All right. Um, you guys are not very realistic at all.
According to who?
If I lined up Tyler, Beyonce, and Rihanna, right? Those all men would agree fit in the category of eight, nines, and tens. Okay. If I lined them up and then I put you three next to them, do you think most people would say, hey, those three women belong in that lineup?
This is how I make my determination, right?
No, no, just yes or
Um,
no. Yes or no.
I feel like that's comparing apples to oranges. So I don't feel like it's a relevant question because
No,
those are celebrities. Those are celebrities with a whole different kind of vibe. They have more money, they have more status, they have like it's
they also have,
it's different.
they also look better, right? Those
I
are the
feel
eight, nines,
like
and those are the eight, nines, and tens of the world. So when you consider yourself an eight, you're drastically overestimating your value.
let me tell you how I determine my value. Like I said, I'm in
But
Atlanta
like no, but like
8.5,
I
a
said,
Miami
if
6,
I
but I'm
put
gonna
you in
tell
that
you,
lineup, if I
but I'm
put you in
gonna
that
tell
lineup,
you,
most people would not say you belong there. That's it. They wouldn't.
well, Well, I don't know because we don't have a panel to say, right? We don't have. That's your speculation. That's your spec. You're one person, and that's your speculation, right? Me, as like my personal life experience, that I have a lot of data to pull from because this is how I make decisions. This is how I'm not just pulling stuff out of thin air, right? So with all the data that I've gathered in my dating years, the reason that I can consider myself in Atlanta 8.5 is because of the kind of men that I date, right? So I feel like the kind of men that I date that are the height that I want, that make the money that I want, that are fit, that are handsome, no kids, blah, blah, blah. For all intents and purposes, the men that I date are 8 and 9s, right? And men typically don't date down, right? Men try to get the
No, we
best
do
look.
date
No,
down.
listen to
We
me.
do date
Listen
down.
to
Wait,
listen
time out,
to
time out.
me.
This
Let
is
me
my
finish my point.
podcast. This is my
No, no, no.
podcast, so
Okay,
I can't cut you off. All right, just
okay.
get that out the way. You know, this is my podcast. Show respect. Don't worry. I'm gonna give you your time, but I'm gonna interrupt and say that men definitely date down all the time. So that means
Hold on one
absolutely
second.
nothing.
Hold on one second. What'd you say? Okay, perfect. Thank you. It's all good. I'm sorry. I am.
No, you're good. You can continue with your point
Yes.
too.
My point was that men typically date the best physically, the best looking woman that they could date, and women typically date the man with the most money that they can get. And so when I look at the kind of men that I date as an overall, like I said, I already told you what I like. I like men who are relatively tall, that are handsome, that are successful.
Yeah, the
Tall,
4%ers.
handsome, successful, and fit, right? Those 4% of men.
The
And
4%ers.
from my personal opinion, those kind of men are 8s and 9s in the looks departments, right? The looks and overall value to society when you factor in all of those things that I said. And those are the kind of men that I date. And so if those are the men that I typically date, I feel like it's a safe assessment for me to be like, I'm also an 8 or 9, right? Because I feel like if if I only dated once in a blue moon a really handsome man or something like that, it would be different. I feel like if I always dated like ugly men or broke men, it would be different. But because of my track record, that lets me feel like I'm an 8, 9, 8.5.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you brought that up. So let me ask you something.
Mm-hmm.
If a groupie fucks a rapper celebrity, does that automatically mean she's on the same level as that celebrity?
No, of course not.
No. So then why would you think just because you can date this type of man, that puts you on the same level as him?
Because I'm dating him, I'm not just sleeping with him. I don't sleep with every man that I
But
date.
if
For the man to pursue me,
but rappers and celebrities, men date down. All this is what I'm trying to tell you. Men will date down all the
they
time.
don't date down. They sleep down. They don't date down. They don't date
What do you
somebody
think
for
men are
months
trying
and
to do
months.
when they date you? They're trying
Of
to sleep with you.
course, but they're not going to put in a bunch of effort to do so if that's not the case. You know, like in men, like there's a different dynamic. There's a dynamic. Like I've
Let
been
me hear what do you think the dynamic is? I want to hear this.
because you again from my years of experience, from all of the data that I have collected from being in the dating game, there
Hmm.
men show their cards. Clearly, men, if you don't put out after, you know, a certain amount of effort, they're either not even going to put in the effort in the first place. They're not going to jump through a bunch of hoops. They're not going to ask you to be exclusive with them. They're not going to ask for your hand in marriage if all they're trying to do, if they consider you a groupie. They're not going to spend a lot of money on you, make a lot of investment on you. Because that's what it comes down to. A man is not going to make a lot of investment in a woman, whether that investment is time, energy, or effort, if they didn't think that she was of some quality. They're not investing a lot of time, energy, and effort in a woman just to sleep with her. Unless they just have an abundance of time, energy, and effort to go around. And I don't feel like a lot of men, especially successful men that make a lot of money who are busy in their lives, they're not going to be spending a bunch of time and energy and effort just for a girl that they plan on throwing away. And that's how
But
you
that's
weed
where
out
they're
these
wrong, though.
guys.
They
Well,
will do
maybe I'm
that.
wrong. Maybe
They
I'm
will do
wrong.
that.
But
So
from my experience, you know, when I do decide, and it's very far and few between, when I do decide to finally give a man my body, they 9 times out of 10 ask me to be their girl, to be exclusive with them. They don't just throw me away or start ignoring my calls. You know, they once you have enough life experience, you can start to learn the intentions of people, not just men, but people in general. So that's why.
One thing I don't want you to get caught up in is that you're on the same value or the same level as those 4%ers, as we saw. And the major difference is going to be the fact that these men aren't on a biological clock the same way you are on a biological clock. All right. So these men can date well into their 50s and still be willing to date that 25-year-old who's willing to start a family, where you, on the other hand, you'll be later on in your life and you just won't have those same opportunities.
Yeah, but we're not talking about me when I'm 50. We're talking about me right now. I don't know why I keep going to the future because we're talking about me now and within the next couple of years. I'm 33. I'm
Because
not
you're
43. I'm not 50.
because you're estimating your value as a 4%er because you can get 4%ers right now.
Right. Because we're talking about me right now, not me when I'm 50.
Right. But you're overestimating your value. That's the thing.
So what is the of my value in general as a woman?
In terms of looks,
If no, I'm just saying like in general, you're just saying like, oh, this man,
oh,
this
so
40 man
if
is
you go on
valuable
that
and you're not on
scale,
his level. Is it because you're
right?
saying like my value is only the beauty? Is my value only the children that I could bear? Like what
Your
determines my value for you to say that I'm not on that level? Because for
your
him,
main value is
it's
definitely
more.
going to be that.
Wait. Let me finish my question. Because when
All
those
right.
4% of men, there was a variety of factors that went into that. It wasn't just how much money he made. It was a variety of factors. And so, what are the variety of factors that determine whether I'm on his level or not? Of those 4% of men,
You should know this, but I'm glad you asked. If you don't know, it's going to be your beauty.
okay?
It's going to be your age. Your unfortunately, it's going to be a biological clock. How close you are
No,
to
no,
that
no.
30,
So, what do you
35.
mean by age? Does it mean my ability
Your
to bear
age is
children?
your age is gonna, yes, your capability to have children is
Okay,
gonna
so
be
I
a
can still
factor
have
right there.
children. Okay, so I can still have children. I'm very healthy and fit, so I can still have children. So what
Now,
else? What else
yes,
is
you
my
can still
value?
have
Beauty,
children,
my ability to bear children. What else?
and then your femininity.
And my femininity.
Yeah, and throughout, unfortunately, throughout the podcast, you've been cutting me off. Right, you've been trying to overtalk me, and I let it slide because I have respect for you. Right,
Do you?
but I'm trying to tell you that you are coming off a little bit masculine. Okay, and that's the opposite of feminine.
So do you realize? And I see this a lot on social media, and I tend to agree with it. So in order for a woman to be soft and feminine,
Oh,
she
here we
has to
go.
feel safe. She has to feel safe. This podcast has been putting me on the defensive. So that's going to bring out everybody. If you don't know, there's yin and yang. Everybody is a mix of masculine and feminine. Even as a masculine man, you are not 100% a masculine man. You have a feminine essence. It's the only way that you're going to have any kind of interpersonal relationships. Everybody is a balance of masculine and feminine. And so when a man feels safe, just like when a woman feels safe, when a man feels safe with his woman, that's the time that he can be soft. That's when he can cry. That's the side when he can be vulnerable. That is when he can let out his feminine side when he feels safe, right? The same thing for a woman. The woman will be soft and feminine and vulnerable when she feels safe. But on the flip side, when she is on the defensive, when she doesn't feel safe, she's not going to relax in her feminine. So there you
Okay,
go.
let's go around the panel with that real quick. Ladies, how many of you think that a man needs to bring out the feminine side to his woman?
That wasn't my point though. That wasn't my
But
point.
I know. I just want
because
to go
because
around the
because
panel
I
with
don't
that.
believe that. Okay, well I'll be the first to answer then. I
You
don't
do
believe
believe
it's a
that.
man's job. No, 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 no. I don't believe it's a man's job to bring out the feminine. I feel like a woman is a naturally in her feminine essence. I feel like a man can bring out the masculine in her, just like a woman can bring out the feminine in a man. If we were on a romantic date, I
Wait, what?
can guarantee you that I wouldn't have this essence because I would be
So
going into it in
why do
my
you have the
feminine
masculine
essence.
essence now?
Because I've already
If you were
asked and
feminine, you
answered.
would just be feminine.
I started off feminine, but then we start jumping into then I got on the defensive. And
So
that is
what would a
the
feminine woman do if she didn't like if a true feminine woman who didn't like what I was saying, she would just be quiet. She wouldn't be combative.
well, this is the podcast, and so we're supposed to talk. So if we're gonna make for an entertaining, if we're
I'm
gonna,
just
because the
saying
whole point,
though. I'm just saying.
and I'm giving you a rebuttal. If this was not a podcast, this whole experience right now was not about conversation and entertainment and talking. If I was in the real world, then I wouldn't even entertain this conversation with you. I would very much excuse myself from the conversation, but I agreed to do this podcast, which is conversation and entertainment. And so that is the dynamic I'm bringing here. I don't think that you would like me as a guest. Maybe you would like me as a guest if I just shut up and didn't say anything, but I just don't feel like that makes for good entertainment. So that's it.
Okay. All right. So you don't believe in the fact that a man has to provide a safe environment for a woman to feel feminine.
I feel like a feminine woman naturally shows up feminine, but I feel like there are circumstances, the environment can also determine whether she is going to put up a defense. If you've ever heard the quote, "It's better to be a warrior in a gardener than a gardener in a war," and it's just saying that you should be adaptable. You should be adaptable, and every situation doesn't call for the soft side of you. That's very much it. Do you think everybody would say that? I'm pretty sure everybody would say Rihanna and Beyonce are feminine women, but I guarantee you
Not
that in
really.
order
No.
to reach, well, maybe, but in order to reach the levels of success, well, you said yourself that what determines a woman's value is her beauty, her age, her ability to bear children, and her femininity. And you've also
Right.
rated those women as nines and tens. So can you
Based on
really be a nine
looks.
or a 10 if you
Based
aren't
on looks.
feminine?
I rated them based on looks.
Oh, okay. Well, then never mind. My point is mute. I take it back.
Yeah. Based on looks only. But okay. Since you don't believe that, we don't have to get into that topic. But it's just funny that people. I mean, I've had this conversation plenty of times where women think it's a man's job to bring out their feminine side or provide that environment, and I just
I
think
don't think
that's
so.
that's all cat. Because if a guy was feminine presenting, no woman would want to put in the work to bring out his
Exactly.
masculinity.
Exactly. But when he is safe in the right environments, he will bring out his other more what's the opposite of dominant? Um,
Submissive.
well, no, his more muted side. Like he might be masculine dominant and masculine presenting, which is what we want. But in the right environment, he's going to be soft and he's going to be feminine. And the same thing for a woman. A woman might by default be feminine, but in the right environment, it might bring out that other side of her. Same
Okay.
concepts. Everybody has its yin and yang.
All right. Let's ask a panel question now. Ladies, let's get back to the topic. What are some things guys get wrong about on the first date? And let's start with Karishma. What are some things guys get wrong about the first date?
Um, Crossing the woman's boundaries,
Mm,
disrespecting her boundaries when she has said that she is not comfortable with something. For example, if she is not comfortable with holding hands and they are pushing and continuously trying to hold her hand, and if she had told her she is, for example, if she is fine to go back home on her own, pushing her to insisting that they want to give her a lift.
Okay, so being too overly eager, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Shania, what about you?
I'll say being inattentive.
That's a good one.
Like being on his phone.
I'm sorry.
Being on his phone.
Yeah,
What's an
yeah.
example? What's an
His
example
phone,
of that you would
kinda,
give?
looking all around and stuff. If it's not, if you can clearly tell that he's obviously not really into conversation, being on his phone, then yeah, I would consider that being
Okay.
inattentive.
What about you, Joy?
I mean, it's so many things that could go wrong. But just basically the opposite of all of the first date etiquette things that you should do. Not paying on the first date, not being chivalrous, not planning the date. Like those are the obvious ones, but it's such a wide spectrum of like what not to do. Um, you know, it's a lot.
Too much to think about, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to dominate the conversation anymore. You know.
All right. All right. Well, do you guys have any topics or questions that you want to ask me or anything you want to follow up on?
What are your statistics? What do you think you are in the dating market? Let's hear about you.
A good
Your
question.
age, your weight, how much
So,
money you make, how tall you are, how big your dick is. Like, those are the things. No, those are the last one was an inappropriate question, but
no, what do you want to know? All right, go ahead. I'm open book.
everything, everything, all
So
those. I
where
just
do I
want to know
rank
your
myself?
statistics. What are your statistics? And yeah, where do you think you rank yourself?
I would rank myself, maybe average,
You say you
5.5,
couldn't
6.
say seven. You say you couldn't say seven.
5 is actually average. Yeah. I would say
Mm,
5.5, 6. Yeah, roughly.
okay.
You know,
And what are your stats?
I still have, this is a self-improvement podcast. So all of this is used so that other men can grow and just make themselves better. That's what it's all about. And we get better each and every day. We don't ever stop. Improving never stops. We don't stop. That's it. So even if you're a 5, maybe one day you will become an 8. Who knows? But
How can you be an eight? How can you go from a five to an eight as a man?
you really want to know?
Yeah.
You gotta. Money is gonna be an important factor. Um, Typically, to be in that 8, 9, or 10 status, you do have to have a certain height because that's just what most women, unfortunately, are drawn towards. So if you're, a short king, maybe you go get a height surgery if you really want to be in that upper echelon. But it's not really necessary for men. I think if you're a guy who's a good 6.5, like you've put in a lot of work, and maybe you weren't blessed with the genetics of being tall or being handsome, but that's the good thing about being a man is that you don't really need to be handsome all the way. As long as you're not obese and you have the charisma and you have the finances to back up your dreams and goals, the ambition, the motivation, the determination, women will still desire you as much as those 8, 9s, and 10 or those elite men.
So what are your statistics?
What are my statistics on what?
I just told you all of the factors that you just asked me, and that
Where
little
do I
like
rank?
percentage like what's your age, what's your weight, what's your height, have you been married, do you have kids, how much money you make? Those are the things that
Oh, so you would want me to put
holistically,
myself in that calculator. Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Put myself in that calculator.
I just want to know
I
what
like I said, I believe out of 10, I rank myself a 5.5.
so in other words, you're not going to answer. Okay.
I did. What numbers do you want me to give you? What stats do you want me to give you about myself?
I've already asked twice, so asked and answered, which is no answer. So okay, heard. Um, that's it.
Not like the 5.5 answer?
No, because it's not what I asked you. I asked you, what are your stats? Name or not name, age, height, do you have kids? How much money do you make?
Oh, okay,
Do you
okay.
have kids? I already said that.
All right, all right. Age 29, kids none. Weight 165, height 5'9". What else did you want?
How
Is that
much
it for the
money do
most
you
part?
make? How much
How
money
much
do
money
you
do I
make?
make? Six figures.
It's not an
What
answer.
else?
6 figures could be 100,000 or 900,000, but okay. What's your education level? What do you do for work? Are you single or are you married? You know, all the things that
Okay.
you
I'm
huh?
single. Okay. So education. Let's start with education, right? Education, bachelor's. Uh, what I do for work, I'm in tech. And relationship status, I believe was your last one. I'm single.
Why were you so surprised when I said I date a younger man?
Because I don't think you would date one with intention. I think it would be fun for you, but most women don't date younger men and actually find it fulfilling
Why not?
because
How do you say that?
you end up having to teach him something because he lacks the
Not ne-
experience. He lacks the, some most times they lack the experience an older man has. So
well, I've dated
that kind
younger,
of
but
yeah. How did that work? Where is he?
well, I am dating a guy right now who's
He's good.
27. Huh? No, I'm dating a guy right now who's 27, and
Okay.
he actually asked me to be with him and move in with him, but like traveling for the summer, I'm not really interested in like long distance. And so we'll resume when I get back to Atlanta. But it's a promising relationship. And he might be the man I marry, who knows? But that's it. So I mean, I date younger men, and because I'm 33, and I have my peers are my age that I don't know if it's trendy or it's just the natural progression of dating. But a lot of my friends are dating younger men at this point. So
They're your same age range?
yeah,
Mid
yeah, my
thirties?
peers. Hmm.
Mid 30s?
Yeah,
Kind of
one of
makes
my best
sense.
friends, she's well, I mean, she's older now, but she was my age when she met her husband, and he was like 7 years younger than her. They're married, they have two kids, they have a beautiful life. So, I think that once you reach a certain age, which is like your late 20s, I feel like you're eligible to be dated. Even like, no matter what the age, I feel like no one really should be dating men and trying to take them seriously until they at least reach the age of 27. Because I feel like maybe at that point they have like they're starting to get a handle on their careers. They're a little more mature. They know what they want. Versus when they're younger, they tend to be like playboys or whatever. So no matter what age, I feel like don't date men that are under 27. But that's my personal opinion.
Okay.
But that was all.
I would even bring it up a little bit more, maybe 30. But okay, if hey, if you want guys want to date 27-year-olds, cool, I guess. You know. Anybody else have any topics they want to talk about? Question about dating, relationships. Krishma, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Uh, I do have based on some of the conversation that you had with Joy, I do have a few comments to say on that.
Ooh,
All right,
let's
what do you want to
hear.
say?
So yeah, firstly, I don't believe that. I think that we determine our own value. So it's not like what you think I am valuable is. It kind of doesn't matter to me what you think I am valuable or what someone else think my value is. It's like I determine my own value, and it doesn't decreases with age. Like when I was 30, I was not more valuable than what I am today. My value is kind of the same. Unless I believe so, unless I believe that I've grown old, so I'm less valuable. Unless I believe so, which I don't. So yeah, my thoughts are. I determine my own value, and my value doesn't decrease with age. And secondly, the like I agree that men don't run on a biological clock, and they can probably have kids in 50, 60 years old as well, but their testosterone level goes down, their desire to have sex goes down, they are not as uh, so they
Fertile.
don't their sperm count definitely goes down. It's not as healthy as it was in their 30s. So yeah, even though they're not on a biological log, it's not like kind of true that a 50-year-old man can definitely get a 25-year-old girl pregnant, even though there are more chances of it, but it's not 100% guarantee.
Right. Okay. So let
And
me
then who's to say a 25-year-old woman wants a 50-year-old man? That's what men, that's where they have it messed up. They think that they get more valuable as they get older. But when I was in my 20s and all of my attractive friends, we're not dating no 40, 50-year-old men seriously. We might
why
have them
not?
as a sugar daddy. We might have them as a sugar daddy, but don't nobody want an old man. Like, just like don't no man want no old woman. Like, it's the same thing. I don't know why y'all,
It's
I don't
not the
know
same thing.
why there's this,
It's not
I
the
don't know
same thing.
why. Let me tell you, as a woman, we know, like, don't nobody want, if you're 20, nobody's seriously checking for a 50-year-old man. Like, y'all might be looking at 20-year-olds. Y'all might be
The
thinking
ones
like,
who
ooh,
aren't dating with intention aren't, but definitely the women who are ready to settle down and date with intention, they're looking at they'll look at any dude who's
nobody is checking
capable of
for a
giving them
50
their
year old
lifestyle.
man.
If they're
Yeah.
smart,
And
they'll
that's
do that.
the only way that a 20 something year old man is, or a woman is taking a 50-year-old man seriously, is if he has some serious money. So, like,
That's every woman. You
no. But
said
I'm
you
saying
wouldn't
just
even date a
by,
guy who wasn't making less than
right,
120,000.
right. So that's my point. But that's my point. No, like, just the virtue of a man getting older is not like there's this misconception. Oh, as man gets better as he gets older. Like, no, he doesn't. His
Yeah,
value is
yeah, we
directly
do.
attached to how much money he has. No,
All right,
absolutely
here's the
not.
saying for you: age men like wine. Men age like wine, and
That's what I'm saying. It's a misconception. It's really not.
women age like milk. Unfortunately, but with that, it gives you time to capitalize on the best man that you can get while in your youth, and that's all you have to do. Simple as that. Capitalize on the best man that you can in your youth.
Hmm. That's exactly it.
But Karishma, you made another point, and it was who determines your value, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it's like
well,
even
hold on,
like
hold on.
even
Let me say my point. Hold on.
okay.
All right. Men determine unless you want to be single for the rest of your life. Men determine your value because we're the ones who choose relationships. We give out relationships. So if you don't ever care about being married or getting into a relationship, then yeah, by all means, you determine your own value. But the minute you care about being in a relationship and marriage, you have to give some thought and concern about the men who are dating you because we're the ones who give out the marriages. We're the ones who get down on one knee.
Well, men and women both determine their own value, is my opinion. And like
If you want to be
similarly,
single,
I am no one to determine someone else's value. I can't determine your value. You determine your own value, just like I determine my value, and no one else in the world has the right to determine it. And if the man thinks that I am not as valuable as I think I am, then probably I'm not the right woman for him.
That's it.
well, what I'm saying is that mentality won't get you very far. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because men determine the value because we are you typically on the market. Women are presenting themselves as the product. Men are the pursuers. We're the ones who go after the women. We're the ones who get down on one knee. We're the ones who give out marriages, buy the ring, give out relationships, things like that. We are the consumers essentially, and women are the products. So if you don't care what the consumer wants, you're going to stay on the shelf. And if you're okay with that, be okay with that. But that you would just have to be okay with that. Men definitely determine the value of women.
it's not about saying that I don't care what the consumer want. Obviously, if I found the right man today, I obviously care about what he wants, and we will have a conversation of that. And I will.
You're talking about from the aspect of you have him already. We're talking about even to get him, you have to care about what he wants.
Yes, so yeah, obviously that is important that I care about what he wants, and it is just as important that he cares about what I want, because obviously if there is not that mutual agreement of what we want from each other, then it's not going to work. But again, the fact is, I determine my value and he determines his value, and if we think that
No,
our values doesn't match, then we are not the right match for each other.
the world determines our value. That's the reality of it. But it's okay. I mean, there's no problem being on. There's no problem being on the shelf. Okay.
We can agree to disagree on that one.
And no, there is no disagreeing. That's just the way it works.
Why do you
That's
think
just
you're
reality.
single? Or why are you single? Is it, yeah,
Why
you.
am I single?
That's another question that I like to ask in the
I
first
put
date.
God first.
What does that mean?
Put God first.
What does that mean?
I put God first.
That is not answering the question. If I ask you, what does that mean? You're not clarifying by repeating what you said. What does that mean exactly?
That means I only
Does
have
that
room for
mean you're
God.
not dating? Does that mean, like, what does that mean?
It means I only have room for God right now.
So you're not dating, in other words. Is that what you're saying?
No, I date.
So why are you single? Because you put God first? Like, I don't
Because I
understand.
put exactly.
Can you
Because I
clarify?
put God first.
Can you
I put
clarify?
God
Because
first.
I don't know what that means.
No. All right. Serious point. I'm just very busy, and when it comes to dating me, you have to understand that you're going to be a representation of me in the public. You're no longer just a representation of yourself. So
Right.
if you're dating with me, people are going to associate you with me, and how you represent yourself is going to essentially reflect me.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
right now in the dating market, it's just it's kind of hard to find that woman who understands that and really is okay with that concept.
So you just haven't found the right one, basically.
I haven't
That's
found
why
the
you're
right
single.
woman. I haven't found the right woman who's okay with understanding that if she gets with me, she is now a representation and reflection of me. Most women just
You
want to
saying
be a
you're have
representation of themselves.
so are you saying when you date women, I feel like that's like common sense. Are you saying
Hey, yeah, you would think so, right? You would think so.
so when you say a woman when you say a woman doesn't want to be a representative of you, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean that she behaves in a way that you don't like in the public eye, or she doesn't carry herself the way that you would want
Could
her
be
to
all
carry
that.
herself?
Could be all that.
So why
Yeah,
date her in the
exactly.
first place? Like, wouldn't you want to date someone who like already kind of like
Because men
fits
date
your
down. That's
criteria?
why. Because men date down. That's why.
No, but you're not dating. So, okay, I'm confused.
You said why
That
date
doesn't
her in the first place? I said because men date down.
right.
I think
We'll
men
we'll
and
So,
women don't
we'll
date
we'll
down.
date we'll date
so in
women.
other words, you're not looking for a relationship. That's what you're saying.
Oh, I am. I'll give her the opportunity to show me that she can, like, she's okay with what I have set and the boundaries and the standards I've set for myself. But most times they're not
So if she
gonna be able to
doesn't,
work up to that standard.
so let me get this right, just so I'm understanding. So you're saying that you meet women, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you set the standard, like this is what I want from a woman, right? And if
Not up
she
front.
so okay, so you're looking and you meet a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and so you don't set your standards and you're just like observing how she behaves, right?
Yes.
And so then if you see that when do you communicate like your standards to her? Is it after y'all have been dating for a while? And then she's like, you know what, I'm not going to raise them? Or like, how does that work? Because you say men date down, but then in the same breath, you saying that you are single because these women that you're dating down, you're not dating. So it's like you don't really date down. You entertain women who are below your level, but you don't take them seriously, right?
That's not really on me on whether or not I take them seriously. They have to show that they want to be taken seriously.
And then you either take them seriously or not,
And then I either
right?
take them seriously or not. Exactly. If they never show me, like, for example, if I'm with a woman and I know that she's okay in this category, why would I ever move her out of that category?
So you don't date down. You entertain down, you sleep down, but you don't date down. You don't seriously date down, right?
But I'm giving, I am. I mean, if I'm the one spending money and I'm the one planning the dates, I'm seriously dating. She never has to go in her pocket. I have to go in my pocket. So I'm
I
seriously
mean, just
dating
because
her,
you pay
and
for
I'm
a
giving,
date, I'm.
well, paying for all the
Oh, so
dates,
you are. So okay. I see what you're saying. So you will
right?
date, you will plan dates, you will spend money on dates, and just never
Right.
take her seriously. And
Because she never took herself seriously.
okay,
It's
so
not
if she
because
did
I
take
never took
herself,
her seriously. She never took herself seriously. She never showed me that she wanted to be taken seriously, right? Because my standards are here. You have to show me that you're willing to do these things.
so after she shows you that she's not willing, you continue to invest in her,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, depends what
even if she's
category
not
she's
sleeping
in.
with you.
She,
That's what I'm saying. So there are categories.
that would,
You're not just arbitrarily dating down. Like no, there are categories. That's exactly my point that I
but
was
that's why I
making.
said, yeah, depends on what category
So
she's
you're
in.
not dating down. You're not seriously dating anyone who you don't feel like is on your level. That was my entire point. You're not dating anybody that you don't feel like reaches your standards. Because if you did and you met her, you wouldn't be single. You will date her, you will entertain her, and you will put her in a category, but it's not a serious category.
But I give her the opportunity to show me that she wants to be there.
But you give her the opportunity, and then when she shows you that she's not willing to meet your standards, you are going to put her in a category. You're not going to continue dating her
And she
seriously.
still has the opportunity to show me that she wants to rise
Okay,
above that.
but you proved my point. Okay, good to
But
know.
but you're saying that's not dating with intention, and I'm gonna have to disagree with that because I'm giving you the opportunity to show me that I'm something that you want.
And when she doesn't, and she keeps doing what she's doing, you put her in a category. Like I said, you're not is you put her not in the serious category because you're not going to seriously date anyone who you feel like is not on your level.
It's not about being on my level.
It is that is
It's
the
just about you understanding my standards and boundaries.
AKA on your
That's really
level,
what it is.
AKA on your level. But okay,
It's it's not. I don't see it as a level. I don't see it as a level. I see it as, her not willing. If you're not willing to follow my program and understand that, this is a leader follower relationship, then it is what it is. You can live your life and we can still be together. We just won't have that. I'm not getting down on one knee. That's all it is.
so dating down. You'll date down, but not seriously, which is my point.
If it wasn't serious, if it
You're
wasn't
not gonna
serious, I wouldn't
date
be
anyone
paying.
serious. Yeah, you're not gonna date anybody seriously if you feel like you're dating down. What's my point?
If it wasn't serious, I wouldn't be paying for it.
Okay.
I mean paying for the dates, not it. Gosh. Okay. Shania, do you have any questions, topics you want to talk about?
I
It's
don't
actually
think
a
I really
blanket.
have anything, valuable
Looking,
to add to this conversation. I enjoy the
looking cozy.
discourse, but you know, there's not really
Okay.
any value that I can add to the
Anything you agree or disagree on? How about that?
I mean, like I said, it's just not really. I guess I would need to know like the purpose of your podcast. It kind of sounds like a knockoff Kevin Samuels tweet.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I thought it was like gonna be something different. But yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how those women got on the podcast, but to be invited onto a podcast and kind of, I don't know. I don't have anything about it to add, but I am enjoying the discourse, and out of respect, I'm kind of hanging out, but I don't have
Did
anything valuable to add.
you guys have any disagreements with what Kevin Samuels talked about?
No, I think a lot of what Kevin Samuel said was great insight for both men and women. Again, I just think that if you are going to do like a knockoff Kevin Samuels podcast, you at least the women. I don't know. Correct. I don't know how like the women actually got on his podcast. Like kind of like sought him out for advice. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't seek you. You sought me. So I don't. I don't know how I ended up on this. So. I don't know. I'm just hanging out, listening to the discourse, but yeah, I think from a brand perspective, I think that you'd have a lot more success if you kind of carve your own path and kind of create a podcast that really fits what you're really trying to do and not what's kind of already been done. Because even though he's dead, that's a widely popular
Yeah,
podcast. I don't think it's going
rest
away.
in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace.
So you don't think I'm doing things differently? You think I'm following the same things as Kevin Samuels?
I think it's like the exact same thing with Kevin Samuels. Again, I don't know how those women got on this
Really?
podcast, but maybe it's different because did he reach out to you ladies too to be invited?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, yeah.
You're inviting people onto the podcast versus them coming to you for advice. And I don't know if maybe that's just like the starter phase that you're in right now, or if that's the case, I'm not sure, but I don't know. To me, it just it's nothing that really stands out and differentiates you from them.
But I don't see how if you like the points that Kevin Samuels was talking about, I don't understand what would be wrong with having some similarities. And maybe it's not a knockoff. Maybe it's just like what most men think.
I mean, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with you having any similarities. For me personally, like I said, I've been enjoying the discourse. That's kind of why I've hung around for the last hour and a half. I just don't have anything of value to add. Because for me, it's kind of, been done before. So it's kind of like a why am I here thing, but I'm also, enjoying what these ladies have to say. And so I'm just kind of hanging out.
So do you think you got any value from
I
this,
think
from
they
this
agree.
episode?
Say again?
I said, do you think you got any value from this episode, or you took away anything? Or
I
you
don't
went
think
in one ear out the other?
Like I said, I've agreed with the majority of what the ladies have had to say. I don't think there's been the information that you're presenting is nothing new. Again, it sounds straight from
It's nothing new.
It's
So
nothing.
you've heard everything I've talked about before.
Yeah, your topic is 5 first date etiquette tips every man should know. Like what?
Right, but we also went into different types of conversations throughout the whole episode. Maybe just weren't listening.
No. I was listening. Again, the ladies look like they agree with me. Have you guys not heard any of these topics before? Like it hasn't been anything groundbreaking. And I mean that, with all respect. I don't know. It's just, it really sounds like, a Kevin Samuels podcast. And I know that a lot because my boyfriend literally loves Kevin Samuels. We both enjoy, everything that he's had to say. But again, I get it when a brand is.
If you agree most with Kevin Samuels' points, then you wouldn't agree with most of Joy's points because that goes against his whole philosophy.
No. When we were talking about
when
we were talking about the first date stuff and what things that a man does right on the first date and what are some things that they don't do right on the first date, I've agreed with those points.
And if you agreed with Kevin Samuels' points, you wouldn't rank yourself an 8.
I mean, but here we go. See, it's like
I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, you're contradicting what you're saying.
But again, the whole point is, and I get that you might be offended. I promise you, I don't mean any offense by that. I'm just saying.
I'm not offended at all. I'm just going
it's like
based off
Kevin Samuels podcast. I personally have anything valuable to add to the conversation because it's, been tried and true. It's kind of been said before. So
I think the whole like ranking women, it's very like Kevin Samuels-esque. And I just think that it was at least a little different with Kevin Samuels because, as to Shania's point, like those people called in asking for like advice. Them called in being like, "Ooh, I'm having trouble finding this kind of man. Tell me why." And then Kevin is like, "You're delusional." Whereas, you're like, "What are your ranking?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have no problem finding my men." So like, regardless of what you think that I am, like, I don't really have a problem in that area. Shania doesn't really have a problem in that area because she has a man, and I forgot the other woman's name, but she's happy. So it's like that part was kind of like unnecessarily combative, and so that was
It was
Kevin
only
Samuel's
combative.
whole like entertainment
Only
value.
combative.
I
Right.
mean,
But
maybe,
we
but
got
I
we
mean,
got to
like
that
if
we
you
got to that point.
if
We got to that point because we brought up your perfect man, right? And that was the whole thing you
Mhm.
guys missed out on. We brought up what you wanted first out of a man, right? And
Yeah,
came up with the 4%. And I'm pretty sure if I would have asked the other ladies on the panel to describe their dream man, it probably would have been
right.
around
But
the same.
how
It
is that
probably would have been
relevant
a.
to anything?
Well, let me if stop cutting me off. I'll get to it. If we brought up the other ladies on the panels, they probably would have brought up the same percentage as well, right? Very rare, 4, 5, less than 10%, right? And the whole
Hmm.
point to that aspect was to see that you rank yourself this amount. The man you want is actually this rare. You're overestimating your value. You don't actually rank on this level because if I lined you up with people who actually are on that level, you don't belong there, right? So the whole delusional aspect comes into play because you're overestimating your value for the man that's much rarer than you are.
And I
That's the
guess
whole point,
I
and that's the whole point that didn't click.
well, it didn't click because for one, you can't say that I'm overestimating my value when those are the men that I get. Like that's what
That's
I,
again comparing apples
that's
and
what's not
oranges.
clicking. And then secondly, like how can you say I'm overestimating my value when you just said a second ago, like, oh, there's plenty of you. I bet you if you put my statistics, your statistics, everybody's statistics in here, it would come back as 4% of the population because everybody's unique. I bet if you put, somebody that's my height, my weight, me, my type of money, even if I'm a 6, even if I'm a whatever, like it's not going to come back 80% of the population. It's going to come back probably 5%. So it's like
But
that
the
is if you put
the thing you're
if you
not
put your
understanding,
statistics.
well, the thing you're not understanding is that men date down a lot of times. Men will date the 4s, men will date the 5s, men will date the 6s. Sometimes they'll even find
But
men who
not
will date the
seriously.
3s.
But not seriously is the
That's
point.
not up to us. That's up to you to make it serious. We give you the fact that we dated you is the opportunity for you to become serious with us.
Okay. And
That's
so
the
what
whole
I'm
point.
saying, and my whole point was that the men that I date take me seriously. So when you keep saying I'm delusional because I don't feel, I'm like, these are the men that I date, and these are the men that date me seriously. These are the men that are like, I want you to be mine. These are the men that I have been asked for my hand in marriage more than once, right? So it's like people
Right,
date
but
me
you're not
seriously. I'm not
married.
a fling.
It doesn't matter how many
Right, because that's
engagements
my
you get.
choice. Right.
Uh,
It's my choice. It's my choice. Just like it's the man's choice to get
It's
down on
not your
his knee.
choice.
It's the
It's not your
woman's
choice.
choice to accept.
You didn't
If it
say yes
wasn't
to
my
that
choice,
man
I would be
because
married.
you
If it
did not
wasn't
say
my
yes to
choice, I
that
would be
man because
married.
there wasn't a man that you truly respected. So that doesn't even matter.
I did respect all the men. How are you gonna tell me how I felt?
If you would have respected him, why did you say no?
Because I don't want to marry him.
Okay.
Wanting to marry somebody is not the same as not respecting him. Those are two different things. I respect
Okay.
my dad. I don't want to marry him. I respect my brothers and my cousins and my neighbors. I don't want to marry
You
them.
respect him in a
Respect
way
does
where
not
you
equal
see.
love.
Okay. Time out.
Respect
You
doesn't equal a lifelong commitment.
time. Time out. Just relax. Tone down a little. All right. Because you're bringing out that combativeness all over again, right? And I'm not trying to be combative with you. I'm just telling you what it is, right? If it was a man that you truly respected and desired, you would have no problem saying yes to him if he got down.
I'm not being combative by saying that you're incorrect.
Well, just let me
It's
finish.
not combative. I'm just saying you're incorrect.
If you truly respected, if you had a man in your life that you truly respected and desired and wanted to be with and wanted to get married with, and he proposed and got down on one knee, you would have no hesitation on saying no. You would say yes. But you don't have that. So you weren't, I mean, yes, you turned down engagements, but that doesn't mean anything. That's like guys turning down sex from the prostitute down the street. Most guys are going to say no. It doesn't mean anything. It has no significance.
That's not analogous. That's not analogous. Okay. Just because I don't want to spend my life with you does not mean I don't respect you. Is my point.
You didn't respect and desire him enough.
But my point was that the men that I want, the men that I date, also want me and take me seriously, and that's how you get, your self-assessments.
But you're not married. That's the whole point. Whether you can't say that because you're not married, you don't have a ring on your finger.
What does that have to do with what I said, though?
You said nothing. They respected. You said they were. I don't think you understand that men could lie, right? So you're saying all these things about the men you're dating, but you're forgetting the simple fact that men can lie.
Guess what? There's a saying that I like to go by. Don't believe what people say. Don't even believe what people do. But always, always, always believe patterns. So yes, I'm not just going off of what he says. Are you crazy? I'm grown. I'm not dumb. Of course men lie. Of course men act in a certain capacity to get the things that you want. That's why you have to have experience with them long term to determine their patterns. No one is making declarations purely based off of what someone says. All right. So I'm just saying, you're wrong on that aspect.
I'm not wrong.
You are wrong because you don't know me or the scenario. You're right on that part. That one is where you're right.
That's all I need to be right on. That's all I need to be right on. I mean, when that happens, kudos to you, but for now, I'm right.
You're right about me not being married. That's the only thing you're right about.
I know I'm right about that. I know. But okay. Yo. Last thoughts. How'd you guys like the show? What'd you think?
I rated a 2 out of 10. If we're doing a rating system, man, I rated a 2 out of 10.
Damn. 2 out of 10. What about
I would rate it 1 out of 10.
Damn. You got some haters in here. All right, what about you, Shana?
I mean, I've pretty much given my thoughts. I think it was pretty clear what I think. So there's no need for me to repeat it.
Okay. Yo, great conversations. I think we had a great discussion today. Ladies, obviously, we're not so happy about the topics and my points, but it is what it is. Shout out to everybody who's watching the stream right now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for more content. And yeah, ladies, do you want to shout out your Instagram where they can find you? Anything you want to give you the opportunity to shout yourself out?
Not particularly. I don't know if I want to be associated with this podcast, but where can I find this recording? Is it on YouTube? Is it on where?
Yes.
Where's it being streamed right now? On YouTube? Okay.
Yes, it's being streamed live right now.
Okay,
guys. These ladies have nothing else to say. It's a hard time getting my points across to this panel, but I hope you guys enjoyed the conversations and the topics discussed. We are out of here. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.